In our politics lead, the Pentagon's Inspector General has received evidence that the military plans that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth shared to signal group chats earlier this year were taken directly from a document that was marked classified at the time. This is according to two people familiar with the ongoing review. The Pentagon is again denying that anything classified was in the chat. You'll recall Hegseth repeatedly denied that notion.
There were no names, targets, locations, units, routes, sources, methods, no classified information.
Don't forget that a journalist had been mistakenly added to that group chat. That's how all of this was brought to light in the first place. This story was first reported by the Washington Post. CNN has confirmed it. Joining us now to discuss, along with other topics, Republican Congressman Mike Lawler of New York. So, Congressman, according to these sources, Hegseth not only put information about U.S. military attack plans in an unsecured signal chat, one that a journalist was on, but it does appear that he was not being honest when he said that nothing in the signal chat was classified. What's your reaction to the story? Can you trust him in his current role as Defense Secretary?
Look, in order to fully weigh in, I would want to read the actual Inspector General's report. Obviously, what it appears right now is you have a leak out of the Inspector General's office as to what is contained in the report. So I would want to see that. But as I said, when this happened, classified or sensitive material cannot and should not be shared in a signal chat, and all proper protocols must be taken to ensure that that does not happen. When you look at, obviously, the success of that mission and missions since, including the strike on Iran's nuclear facilities, I think it is very clear that operational security was largely adhered to, but moreover, the success of the mission and the execution by our military was flawless. So, obviously, in order to give a more fulsome comment, I'd want to actually read the report.
You're about to go home to your state of New York, where many of the crimes committed by Jeffrey Epstein took place. What are you going to tell your constituents if they ask you why you're not one of the House Republicans publicly pushing for the Justice Department to release all the files that they already have?
Well, first of all, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I haven't peddled in this nonsense for over 6 years, as some of my colleagues on both the right and the left have. And frankly, this is quintessential Washington politics. Putting forth procedural motions or trying to attach amendments to bills that have nothing to do with this is nothing more than trying to play political games. My view is very simple. Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile. He was a human trafficker. The world is better off with him dead. And Ghislaine Maxwell, who helped facilitate his human trafficking and sex trade, was convicted, prosecuted by the Biden DOJ. And from my vantage point, if in fact somebody committed a crime, if in fact somebody acted in furtherance of this crime spree by Jeffrey Epstein, they should be prosecuted. Does anybody really believe that the Biden DOJ, which indicted and tried to prosecute President Trump, would not have tried to do so if they had evidence that he somehow was involved in Jeffrey Epstein's crimes? I mean, let's all be honest here. And the fact is, many of my colleagues who are now demanding the release of these files said exactly nothing for 4, 5, 6 years, and in fact dismissed it all as conspiracy. And frankly, many in the media who are now demanding that this be released dismissed it all as conspiracy theories. So I think this is more typical Washington politics. I believe anybody who committed a crime should be held accountable, period. And if somebody worked in furtherance of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, they should have the book thrown at them. Nobody is disputing that or saying otherwise. But let's stop trying to make this into some big scandal when, in fact, you do not want to release information that, for instance, would put victims in jeopardy or put on display child sex porn. I mean, we have to be judicious about what we're doing here. The courts should weigh in with respect to the release of the grand jury information. And we should take this step by step instead of trying to make this a political football.
I want to move on, but I do want to just say I'm going to send you a great book by Julie Brown called Perversion of Justice about the case. And I think one of the things, forget Trump, forget Clinton, forget the politics of it. There are hundreds of young girls who did not get justice because only 2 people were ever held accountable. And I think there are questions about if there are other people who should be.
And my view is anyone who was involved in abusing these children, these women, they should be prosecuted and held accountable. Period. They should have been prosecuted prior to today.
I think there are just questions about why they weren't. But let's move on. You had been mulling a run for governor of New York. Today, I was surprised to read that you're instead going to seek re-election for your competitive House seats. The last time New York elected a Republican governor was in 2002. That was Governor George Pataki's 3rd term. It is likely that your colleague, Republican Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, is now going to run. But in your Twitter post today, you said you were bowing out despite the fact that, quote, I fundamentally believe I am best positioned to take on Kathy Hochul. If you're the best positioned to take on Kathy Hochul, and I'm not disagreeing with you, why aren't you running?
Well, look, this is a decision that I weighed over 6 months. There were a lot of factors that weighed into it. The chief among them is that I actually like what I'm doing. I love the job that I'm currently in, serving as chair of the Middle East and North Africa subcommittee, being able to fight for and deliver on one of my biggest promises, to lift the cap on salt in the most recent tax bill, the biggest tax cut in the whole bill. And so there's a lot of work ahead. I weighed this very heavily over these 6 months. I fundamentally believe, having won 3 times in 2-to-1 Democratic districts in the state assembly and Congress, that I can bring the coalition together. But there's a lot of things that go into it, and ultimately, as I looked at the landscape, as I looked at